Alright, welcome back. So let's just cover some important topics like loops and statements, the if statements, right? And if I just open my text editor, so let's get started with if statements. Right now, what if statement is? It's a condition. It's a statement which checks if a condition is true, which returns, which checks the condition if it's true, and then it returns the first block. Let me just try to explain it if it's just practical. If I just write some codes. This is the basically block. If you just get rid of these two topics, so if the condition is true, we use if the condition is true, then just kind of print this block of code. Else, if it is false, then kind of print this block of code, right? If it was true, so this block of code would work. Block, say it right. We can say block works, and then we have this block works right here. Okay. Okay, so let's just do some practical works. If I just create a variable called age, which is for instance 67, and then if I just use some if statements, and then if I just say if age is greater than, these are called operators. So we have few operators in JavaScript or in programming in general. We have greater than, less than, equal to, or greater than equal to, less than equal to, this is triple equal to, and this is called not equal to. So these are operators and quite useful. So let's just use some of few of them. So if I just say, for example, if age is greater than 67, or we can say, I think let's make age a little bit, which is 57. We can say if age is greater than 60 or 67, then just give us document right senior citizen, and if you just check it, we don't get anything because the condition is false here, because the age is 50, not greater than 67. It must be 68, so it works. In order to work, it have to be 67, and then in else we can say not senior citizen, right? And if you just go back again, and this time if I just change this into 68, so what it does is it gives us senior citizen. We can even use some kind of if, else if, and then else. Just like that. So we can say just document right, and if the age is less than 15, we can just say child, or less than 10. So this age is now 68. This is quite big, and if you just case say for example 9, so you can see it returns child. So that's how we can work with statements. And let me just get rid of them, and let's get started with some kind of one example in if statements. So let's get rid of them, and then let's say for example here is a assignment for you to write a program to find a number is even or odd. How you can do it? You know the mathematical logic. If the remainder gets a 0, because when you divide a number, it also has a divisor, dividend, and the quotient and remainder. So if the remainder becomes 0, that means the number is even. So this is a little for a quick math note. So if you just say, let's say for example we're getting number in prompt, or we say for example number inside prompt, enter number, and if I just say document write number, and if I just go to browser, and you can see we just are getting number. If I just write 12 or anything, we just got the number. Now we need to use some statements right here. So we say if the number is, this is the logic right here, if the number modulus 2 equals to 0, that means the number is odd, even, sorry. And in else, if the number, we can just make it more clear, we can say number modulus 2 which equals to 1, so we can say, let me just make it 1, so we can say the number is odd. Oh yeah, we need to write number. We're just getting the number right here. The prompt is empty. Let me just check that real quick. We have on line number 15 there's some problem. Okay, let me just make it in double quotes. And if I just check it again, still we have same problem. Oh, I think this is else not contain a condition area. We just need to make it else if. Okay, so if you just write a number, we know that's odd, so it returns even. And if I just enter an odd number, so it returns odd, right? So that's how we can even work with. Just there are a lot of examples. If you just go ahead and Google and find a lot of examples there. Okay, so let's just cover loops. In JavaScript or in programming in general, there are several loops like for loop, while loop, and do while loop. These two loops are almost same, but do while loop is a little bit different. So let's just check each by one, right? Let's say for example I have a for loop, or I want to, let's say for example, let me just create a variable called books, and then I have for example 5 books, and I want to use while loop. And then if I just say the condition, what we have to say is, let me just change this to number of books, and if I just say right here number of books is greater than 0, so this is the condition that it checks. If the number, this is right now it is 5, so it checks if it is greater than 0. If the certain condition is true, what it does is, let me just say for example, just decrement them, right? And if I just write some kind of document, or write a number of books available in bookshop. Oh yeah, we just got some, I mean, just formatted them a little bit, just like that, right? So you can see we have, for example, in our first chart we have 5 books in the shop. In the second line we can see it's being decrementing with 1, right? Or we can say minus equal to 1, so it decrements with 1. If we just say 2, so it decrements with 2. At the time you can see 5, 3 and 1 directly, so we just make it 1. So that's how the while loop works in JavaScript. And we can even say, for example, let me just copy this part and paste it right here, and we just write do. Now what it does is, if even the condition is false, if the condition does not match with a certain condition, so this block will still run only once, right? And then if the condition is true, it works the whole. If it does not, so it will only work once, right? So if we just check it again, and you can see it still works. So let me just make it like 2. There it is. So it works exactly the same way, right? And then we have a little bit about the for loop. If I just get rid of that for loop, let me just write the syntax for for loop. We need to write the variable first, which for example equals to 0, and if I just say which I is less than or equal to 5 or less than 5, and then just increment. So we write all the conditions, even the declaration of variable, the condition right here, and then the auto increment or decrement. We just write all of them right here. We will not, kind of make it separate. So it takes 3 parameters right here, right? And then if I just say document, write I, and then if I just break it, let me just make it just like that. There it is. And if I just say, let me just reverse it a little bit. For example, we have around 10 books in the shop, and if I just say if it is greater than 0, then just decrement it with 1, or we can say with the formula we used, minus equal to 1, right? So what we can say is I that decrements with 1, books available. So let me just give it a space. Right here you can see we have 10 books, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 5, 4, and you can see so on. So it decrements until the certain condition is true, right? So that's how we can work with these 3 loops, and that's how we can create loops. And these are most important topic in programming or in JavaScript or in programming in general. When we use loops with arrays, that's kind of brilliant work. So try to learn them, and still you have an option. Just keep practice, perfect practice, makes you perfect. And in our next class, we'll be talking about functions. We'll be talking about functions, how we can work with functions, create functions, and we'll pass arguments with them. So let's get started with functions.